To answer your question, which is whether or not the traditional concept of the rule of court should prevail, I'm going to do the lawyerly thing and say, in some cases, yes, in some cases, no. And if you'll allow me to explain why in some cases. Ultimately, an arbitration is a private event. So if you wanted to have the force of law, the state has to be involved to some degree. Now, in international arbitration cases, as I was just looking up, I believe about 76% of awards are voluntarily enforced. I'm not aware of a similar statistic for Pakistan, but I am fairly confident that it's a lot lower than 76%. So, if we want the state to be involved, the state will have to take this award, look at it, analyze it to some degree, and then say, okay, you can now enforce this as if it was an order of the state or an order of the judge. There has to be some application of mind involved. The question is that going to be minimal? Is that going to be maximal as it has traditionally been in our history? Or how are we going to decide? To what extent are the judges going to rethink what has already been done? And to elaborate my point, and I'm going to segue here, this is a point often made by our current Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif Sahab, that governing Pakistan means you live in multiple times simultaneously. I mean, it means multiple eras. So in some instances, you're living 1,000 years ago. For some purposes, you're living 400 years ago. For some issues, you're living maybe 50 years ago. And in some cases, you're living as a citizen of the 21st century. And with all of the judges here, and I'm sure their experience and all of the legal luminaries here, the same thing applies for legal issues as well. In some cases, you will deal with incredibly sophisticated lawyers like Makhdoom Ali Khan Sahab coming and arguing the absolutely latest legal theory. And some cases, you will have mufassir lawyers who will not know how to pronounce an English word correctly. And your laws have to cater to all of them, not to make a legal submission, but the concept of equality not only means treating like people like, but if people are different, then you should also treat them differently.